All right, welcome to the 20th recording. Well, actually, the 21st recording, but we had some technical difficulties. So the 20th episode of the Pops and Drops podcast.
What up, people?
Our first attempt at recording this episode went about as well as 2020, which is what we're going to talk
We
about.
recorded an entire podcast that we can't use, and we have to restart. So,
Okay.
There's something different about you. I'm feeling different now that I found you. There's something different about you. Yeah, I'm feeling different now that I found you.
2021 is going to be a very big restart.
Yes, that's for sure.
Jesus.
Okay. So 2021 will be hopefully a year when the vaccine is widely distributed,
Yep.
things open back up,
Yep.
and things we experienced in 2020 that we are happy to put to bed. Obviously, the coronavirus,
Yep.
the China virus,
No.
the Wuhan virus.
No. That's another thing that we're putting to bed is racism.
Okay. No more racism. That's awesome. So
China.
no more
Trump.
no more Kendi if you're putting racism to bed.
No more what?
Kendi.
What's Kendi?
Kendi is the author who penned the anti-racist book where he says the only solution for discrimination is more discrimination.
Okay.
So, yeah, we got to get rid of that.
Okay.
And let's see, the lockdowns hopefully will be put to bed pretty soon before there's nobody left in California.
Yeah. Everyone's trying to run
Yeah.
because of Gavin Newsom.
Everybody's running out of California, trying to escape a state government behaving like our federal government has been behaving for quite a while.
Well, California is the fifth biggest economy in the world. So if there's ever going to be a state that acts like a federal government, California is the one to do it because they've got the economy to do it. They've got the size and they've got,
Yeah.
I'm not advocating for it. I'm just
Okay.
stating facts.
It is interesting that in a free country where people can vote with their feet, that there is a clear example of how a government can go too far and drive its own citizens out of its jurisdiction.
Yeah, and left and right, like alike. Like Taylor wants to get out of there, and she's as left as you can get.
Yeah.
And my friend Matt wants to get out of there. And if your my exes want to get out of there, like everyone wants to get the fuck out of California right now.
So lessons learned. Hopefully the federal government will take notes and will start to behave themselves the way that the founding fathers stipulated in the Constitution, and they have been ignoring for the last 100 years.
Okay. Fuck the founding fathers, but whatever.
Anyway,
We need to have the new founding fathers. Do you know what that's from?
no.
The Purge.
Oh, great.
I'm not advocating for the Purge either, people. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So if we have a new Roaring 20s,
Yes.
the Roaring 20s of the 21st century, I wonder how. Well, so in the 1920s, following the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, everybody took to the bars and had a grand old time, right? The Charleston Flappers and Razzmatazz. So
Yeah. And that was after the flu wiped out a third of the world's population.
potentially
That's what they can estimate. Like 300 million or something.
large number.
Yeah.
Well, so maybe the reaction won't be as strong since it was only a few 100,000 in the United States.
Yes,
and
but it's like 1.8 million globally or something
still
like
a
that.
tiny fraction compared to, 300 million in 1918.
That was a lot.
Well, yeah. That's probably the equivalent of over 1.5 billion people.
Yeah.
And we're
No.
talking about 1 million. That's 1/1000th the impact.
Yeah.
So
And the other thing that I don't understand about, like, I don't understand how it spread so much back then, because, like, people weren't traveling. Like, you couldn't get on a plane.
no, but you get on a boat.
Yeah, but like how that whatever that disease was must have had a lot more legs.
Influenza.
Yeah.
The COVID-19 is more contagious than
Influenza.
influenza.
But influenza must last longer. It's got to have a lot more like, just to think.
I think it's just the state of medical care and human health. I mean, the other thing is that people, at least in first world countries, people are healthier than they were back then.
That's also true.
I mean, 1918, that's the end of World War I.
Yeah.
People were hungry, right? I mean, a lot of the world's resources went to fighting the war.
Yeah.
So,
I guess did they have planes?
yeah,
Yeah.
monoplanes. I mean, they didn't have, right? So the Wright brothers were 1904.
Okay.
So this was really only 14 years after
Like the first ever
flights
plane.
at Kitty Hawk.
Yeah.
Planes were still made out of balsa wood and fabric.
Jesus. and you know, like if they had to quarantine back then, they didn't
Remember
have.
that the movies of the old World War I bomber airplanes where the pilot would lift up the bomb and throw it over the side of the plane.
Oh yeah, those are the kind of planes they had. Now that I think back, because I get like thinking back that far, I get the first and second World War mixed up in my head sometimes. When I just think about the technology available. When was mustard gas World War I?
Correct.
Okay. And then before World War II, did they make chemical warfare like not okay? Or was there was still chemical warfare in World War II?
No, there were prohibitions. The Geneva Convention was passed before World War II as a
Okay.
result of World War I.
That's just crazy that they're like, okay, we're gonna go to war, but like you can't do these certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole concept doesn't compute in my brain.
Yeah, people kind of did it anyway, but
Yeah.
and they got around it. I mean, napalm.
Yeah, that was during Korea, or what's that?
Vietnam.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Yeah.
That was Heart of Darkness,
I guess
Apocalypse Now.
it is a chemical weapon. I mean, it's a chemical accelerant. So
Yeah.
by definition, it's a chemical weapon. I guess by definition, even bombs are chemical weapons.
Yeah.
But anyway, hopefully the wars are done. So other things that happened during 2020,
Murder hornets.
we learned, well, we got another scare. Murder hornets didn't materialize. Aliens.
Yes.
Aliens are real.
Government was like, yo,
Aliens are
we're just
real.
going to slip this in here real quick. While you all are distracted, by the way, they're out there.
Yeah. So we saw the video of the UFOs released by the Department of Defense, and we had the former cabinet minister from Israel say that aliens are working with Israel and the United States, and they have a base on Mars with American personnel
In it. Yeah.
in a base with aliens on Mars.
Do you believe that?
I find it, I mean, it's possible. I think Elon Musk is going to be super pissed. But yeah, I mean, potentially.
Yeah. Do you remember that that was that? I don't think that was this year. I think that was like back in 2017 when they were doing that. Anybody wants to go to Mars, you have to like submit all this paperwork, and people have to vote on the 100 people that they were going to send to Mars.
I do, yeah, kind of.
And they were like, "Well, you're not coming back though,
right.
because we don't know how to get you back.
one-way
But
trip.
We'll send you there. You got to have to find the hidden alien base in order to come back. Find the other Americans or astronauts out of there."
Yeah.
I think that Mars was I think that Mars was Earth, like thousands or tens of thousands of years ago, and Mars destroyed itself.
Okay.
I think there's evidence to that.
Okay. Maybe.
Because they've found water and plants and streams, like they found all that stuff already. The Mars rover landed on a plant or something crazy like that. Like there was a plant and the Mars rover landed on it.
You mean a fossil?
No, a plant. Like a living plant. There was like one living plant on Mars and the rover landed on it.
That's that sounds like like a joke.
I'm serious.
I don't think
I
so.
remember reading that. I
The
remember-
one plant on Mars,
Yes.
the rover landed on
landed
it
on
and killed
it.
it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true.
Also, the way before the Israeli prime minister or whatever came out and said aliens were real, a former Canadian one, like 10
Defense
years,
minister,
like 10
yeah.
years ago, was like, "Yo, aliens are real."
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the big revelation from the Israeli was that aliens are real. That
Is that they were working with us?
yeah, is that they were in communication and actually working with them.
I heard that the aliens asked Trump not to reveal it. That was a conspiracy theory that I read, that Trump has known this entire time and he didn't. He was about to let everybody know, but that the aliens asked him nicely not to. Which that sounds like bullshit. Because I think if Donald Trump knew that aliens were out there, he'd be like, "Just by the way, people, aliens are real. They're out there."
Yeah, maybe.
But that would also probably hurt his base because a lot of them are right-wing religious Christian fanatics. And I don't think that aliens fit into the Bible.
Yeah, we've had that conversation already. So, other 2020 things you're happy to put to bed.
Well, a lot of bad shit happened. Kobe died.
Kobe died. Yeah, that's true.
That was a gut punch.
Yeah. Yeah. From a helicopter crash, not from COVID.
Yeah. That was before COVID. Wasn't that January or February? I don't think we were in lockdown when that happened.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because they had that whole thing at the Staples Center. They had like a whole tribute thing at the Staples Center. No one was wearing masks.
I mean, the biggest thing that happened in 2020, which is, will historically will be reflected upon, was the way that the federal government used COVID as an excuse to do a huge wealth transfer. The idea that we passed first a $4 trillion relief package that essentially gave American citizens a $600 check, and then another $1 trillion relief package that's going to give U.S. citizens a $2,000 check or a $1,000 check.
as we're speaking right now, we don't know because we're recording this right before New Year's. But today, Mitch McConnell came out and is trying to block it. And Bernie Sanders came out and said, "Okay, that's fine. You could try to block this, but I'm going to filibuster it, and nothing's going to happen. You're not going to get any of the Republican crap that you want to happen until the American people have $2,000."
Okay, so it is two, though.
Yeah, Trump approved 2. The House approved 2.
Okay, now the Senate's trying to block it.
No, not the Senate.
Just Mitch McConnell.
Just Mitch McConnell,
So,
because he's evil.
yeah. So in total, in 2020, there will have been something like $5 trillion of federal spending.
And
And each American family, each American taxpayer, 18 plus person, I guess, will have only received $2,600.
no, well, the first check was $1,200.
Oh, two $600 checks?
No, it's just one $1,200 check.
Oh, okay. So 3,200.
Yeah.
So 3,200.
And the dude that has the mega church in Texas received $2.2 million.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in the corporations, United Airlines, lots of businesses received the payroll protection plan stuff and, used the money and then laid off their people. It's,
Bullshit.
yeah. So 3,200. Say there's 300 million. Oh, how many people over 18? I think I looked this up. I think it's like 260 million people over 18.
Uh-huh.
So let's just, for the
It's
ease
like
of math,
2 billion.
well, if let's for the simple math, let's say 300 million times 3,000. So 300 million times 3,000.
It's 3 billion.
No.
Right? No, that would be 3 million
300 million
times 3,000.
times 3,000 would be, well, 3,300 million, that's 300. So that'd be 900 billion.
900 billion.
900 billion of the 5 trillion in relief went to American people, citizens.
That's less
The
than
other
that's less than a
4
quarter.
trillion, oh, way less. It's like 20%.
Yeah.
So the other 80% of the relief went up.
Yeah.
So when people look back on 2020 and when the March on Washington has gone in there and torn down Congress and the Senate and tarred and feathered all of those people because of what they've done, everybody can look back on these relief packages and see, well, they agreed to $5 trillion in relief and gave 20% of it to the people. The other 4/5 went to lobbyists and special interests.
Yeah.
And at some point, people are going to have had enough.
Well, that's trickle down economics. That's Reagan. That's what
It's
it is.
not even trickle down.
That's what it is, though.
No, well,
That's their
it's
justification.
really
That's
not.
their that's
It's
their
really not.
That's their
That
justification.
is a misconstruing of trickle down economics. Trickle down economics says, let them keep the money, they'll create jobs with it. This is, we're going to take the money and we're going to decide who gets it. We're not just going to do a big tax cut to let the rich people
Stay richer.
create businesses and invest their money. We're going to take the money and then we're going to decide which of our friends with the K Street lobbyists and making big political campaign donations get the money. It's patronage. It's corruption. It's straight out corruption and patronage. $5 trillion in relief packages, less than 1 trillion of the 5 went to the American people.
Yep.
Not cool, people. I'm sorry, congressmen, senators, presidents. Doing that kind of crap is going to get you in trouble. That's the kind of shit that will lead to revolution.
You think there's a revolution coming?
Well, they built the founding fathers created a system that allowed for revolution. They're called elections. So 2 years from now, maybe somebody will come along with a political party that says, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to go and we're going to follow the Constitution from now on. Maybe the Constitutionalist Party elects people to Congress and the Democrats and the Republicans get thrown out.
The problem is there needs to be term limits.
No.
Yes.
The problem
is that people get in there and they get entrenched and they
Yes, but that's not the problem.
If we
the
put
way
term
they get
limits-
entrenched is there's no accountability because the constituencies are too big. You can't have a congressman for 750,000 people. The only way that a congressman can win an election for with 750,000 people in their district is by running television advertising and radio advertising and Facebook advertising.
Yeah.
If there was, as the Constitution says in Article 1, Section 2, Part 3, one congressman for every 30,000 people, then you can campaign grassroots and get elected without advertising money.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the solution, not term limits, accountability.
Why can't there be both?
Because if you have term limits, then there is no reason for the person who's at the end of their term to remain ethical.
Okay, that makes sense. If they're like on the way out, they're like, I'm going to take a bunch of bribes to vote this way and then get out.
Correct.
Well, then everything would have to be virtual.
It is now. Have you ever watched C-SPAN? How many times have you watched C-SPAN during the day when the regular business of Congress is going on that there's anybody except the person talking in the room?
Yeah.
They're all sitting in their offices watching it on TV anyway. That's what C-SPAN is for. Just beam it into 6,500 offices instead of 435.
So then you'd have to decentralize the government.
No.
Yeah.
How?
Because you're not going to have that many senators or congressmen in Washington.
Why not?
Because the House, the Congress is too small.
How many people
The
do you
building's too small.
How many
That's why they stopped it.
think, how many people do you think work for the US Congress right now?
Oh, a shitload.
How many?
Hundreds of thousands.
No.
Thousands of thousands.
There are
Tens of
There are
thousands?
13,800 staff members for the U.S. House. For
That
the U.S.
work,
House
that,
of Representatives.
that work in the Congress?
Yes.
Okay.
The staffs of the individual congressmen and, their committees.
Yeah. And the staffs would be reduced.
Yeah.
If this constituency wasn't as big.
Correct. Yes. There are 13,800 people working in the U.S. Congress. Only 435 of them are elected. The rest of them are staff who are chummy with lobbyists. That's how the special interests and the Washington elite run the show, is through the unelected bureaucracy.
Okay.
If we go back to the Constitution, one congressman for every 30,000 people. The original Congress, every congressman had one staff member. So it was the congressman and their clerk. If you had 6,500 congressmen and each one of them had one clerk, that would be the same number of people that work in Congress now.
Okay.
It's except half of them would be elected instead of a tiny fraction.
Yeah.
It's called accountability.
Yeah. Well, it would take massive change for that to happen.
No, it wouldn't. It'd take one vote in the House.
And you think that the people in the House would give up their power?
No, not
I
unless.
bet AOC would.
Not.
I bet
maybe
AOC
she
would.
might. She
She
might.
would probably advocate for that.
I doubt it seriously, but she might.
She would. She would want people to have the power.
If she's true to her word, that's true. But remember,
And when she's president in 15 years,
okay. Well, if AOC wants my vote, then she's got to advocate for going back to the constitutionally stipulated ratio of representation, and that she will have earned my vote.
you hear that, AOC? When she's watching this back in 10 years, when I'm super rich and famous, and I tell her that she needs to check out our podcast when we're at a dinner together.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, listen, watch this. Watch our New Year's podcast 2021.
Yes.
And she'll be like, okay, there's some interesting ideas in there that you should advocate for.
Well, if by then we haven't already addressed this issue, we may have bigger problems than AOC running for president.
That's not a problem, AOC running for president. That's what's going to happen, and she's going to be president.
Okay. Well,
AOC's a rock star, man.
okay.
She's the rock star that
Hopefully
that the millennials have been
Hopefully
waiting
she
for.
learns a little economics before she attempts to become president of the United States.
I love you, AOC.
God.
She's cool, man. She'd be the first TikTok president.
3 or 4 years younger than you?
Is she younger than me?
I believe she is.
Damn. I got to get a move on. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to be president one day.
Okay.
Governor of California first. And president.
All right.
I've been saying that since I was a little kid, man.
I know.
It's going to happen.
Well, you're going to need to learn some economics before you earn
Why?
my
I got
vote
you.
either. Okay. So you're just going to turn all your economic policy over to me?
Sure, as long as yeah, man. You got to surround yourself with intelligent people. That's another reason why Trump didn't work out.
Probably true.
Because he surrounded himself with his cronies, not with intelligent people.
Yeah. I mean, there were probably some smart people.
In the very beginning.
Yeah.
before they got sick of his bullshit. And they're like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. We got to get the hell out of here before we get arrested. And then half of them were arrested.
I don't think it was about being arrested. I just think once they realized that he wasn't going to actually get rid of all the people who were trying to undermine him, they knew he was destined to failure. So they just said, if you're not going to do what you need to do to make this work, we're not going to hang around. He was too nice. He let people stay in their
Trump
jobs.
was too nice.
Yes, he let
I
people.
don't think you're ever going to hear that coming out of anyone
He
else's
let
mouth.
people stay in their jobs who had their own agenda and wanted to undermine him, and he didn't clean house the way he had to. He had to go in there. The only way you can fight the Washington bureaucracy is to get rid of it, and you can't staff these agencies. These agencies are their own monstrous entities, and they have their own operating systems. And if you just pull someone from within that system and stick them at the top because they're a Republican or they say they like you, nothing's going to change. If you're going to go in there and you're going to actually get the federal government wrangled into something that's operating within the bounds of the Constitution, you're going to have to clean house. You're going to have to go 5 levels deep at the top of all of these agencies, and you're going to have to put somebody in there, and you're going to say, okay, your first job is a constitutional audit.
Well, here's another problem.
You're going to have to go into this agency, and you're going to have to identify every activity that is not constitutionally enumerated for this agency to be doing, and fire the people that are doing the unconstitutional activities.
Yeah. But don't all those appointments have to be approved by the Senate or the House?
Yeah. But the president, the House and Senate almost never block things like that.
Okay.
They don't care. I mean, your deputy director of the Railroad Commission is not going to get blocked by the House or Senate.
Okay.
I mean, if there was, then that really would be kind of a constitutional crisis at that point, where the president would have to go to the American people and say, I can't do what you need me to do because your representatives in the Senate and the House won't even approve my nominees for these roles in the executive branch. So either, maybe we can create some recall campaigns to get some people in these offices that'll actually do what we need to do. If the president went directly to the people and said, okay, let's get these people recalled and taken out of office, and you can have special elections to put people in here who can actually get done what needs to get done, the House and Senate would get whipped into shape real fast.
Okay.
You just have to have a president who's willing to do what's necessary to make it happen.
Well, when I'm president in 30 years.
Okay.
Or how old am I? Yeah, I'll be like 62, 63. Mm-hmm. I honestly think that another thing that we need to do is we need to put a cap that no one can run for office past 65 for anything. For anything.
Well, I thought you said we're going to have some pill that's going to let you live to be 150 years old.
Yeah, but that hasn't come along yet. We can reverse that once everyone's back to being 29 forever. But until that point,
okay,
I think that's another major issue, is that the Congress itself is so old.
Yeah. And you know why that is? Because the American citizens who participate in the elections don't want to do any research. They just want to feel that they fulfilled their civic duty. So they march down to the polls on election day without ever having even looked at who's running. And they pull the lever for the name they recognize.
Or one with the D or an R next to it.
And the one that they recognize, correct, and the one that has the D or the R in the general is because the people who participated in the primary did that. They walked in and they voted for the name they recognized.
Yeah.
Name recognition has got to be the worst rationale for voting for somebody in the world.
It's a good thing I got a cool ass name.
I guess.
Chancellor Adam MacArthur Moore, President Chancellor Adam MacArthur Moore, Governor Chancellor Moore. Governor Chancellor Moore sounds good.
Okay.
President Chancellor Moore sounds good.
Well,
It sounds like something someone would
you're
vote for.
likely to get elected on your name.
Chance Moore.
But that's the problem with a media that doesn't do an objective job of covering the news, so that people stop paying attention.
They never will. The media never truly will. The big media won't.
Well, the question is, when will people start paying? When will citizens either, you can do one of two things, people. You can actually do some research and figure out what and who you're voting for, or fricking stay home. Stay home. Don't vote.
Don't tell people not to vote.
Don't vote.
Don't tell people
If
not
you
to vote.
haven't done enough research
Vote.
to make a logical, rational decision about who or what you're voting for, don't vote. The country would be better off if you stayed home. If you have not done any research before you go to the polls and you're just going to walk in and vote for somebody whose name you recognize, you are the problem. You're part of the problem, not the solution. Don't vote unless you've done your homework.
Well, every election is a popularity contest.
And that's why we're in the situation we're in.
Yeah.
That's why your olds are running the country. You don't want olds running the country. Quit voting for people whose name you recognize.
Or TikTok stars need to start running for office.
Whatever. That's worse.
Why? At least they're young and uncorrupted.
And unqualified.
Okay.
No. The solution is not voting on name recognition. The solution is voting with
What
some...
if Congress was just full of like 20-year-olds who were just like, we don't know what we're doing, but we're going to try this out.
Couldn't be worse than now, because the people that are there now are just saying, going to the lobbyists and special interests and saying, tell me how to vote and give me my money.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter whether they're 65 or 25.
Well, if they're 25, they're not going to say that.
Yes, they will,
No, they won't.
as long as they have to get elected in a district with 750,000 people. So they have to raise $6,000 a day to run their campaigns.
They won't have to do that if they're a TikTok star.
Yes, they do.
No, they won't, because they're a TikTok star. They already have name recognition.
It's not about name recognition.
You just said it was.
Well, but if you're running against someone who also has name recognition, you have to go out and smear your opponent with $3 million worth of advertising.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the system is broken and has been since they abandoned the constitutionally mandated ratio of representation back in 1911 when they capped the House at 435 people. We should have 6,500 congressmen. Then the system would work the way it was originally designed. There would be accountability at the individual member of House level, because it only takes 15,000 people to win an election.
Well, then should we take
And if
out?
you
should
screwed
we?
up-
Should we just remove the Senate then?
No,
Just have the House?
no.
Well, then the Senate's going to remain the same. The Senate's going to
Yes.
remain as corrupt as it ever was.
The Senate represents the interests of the elite and the special interests. That's their job. The House, which now also represents the interests of the elite and the special interests, are supposed to be representing the interests of the people.
I understand what you're saying, but why should the Senate why should the elites have representation?
Because we live in a country that also has elites. You have rich people in the country, and if you want them to stay here, you're going to have to give them representation in the government.
But they should have representation if they have a representative in the House. If their district, if they live in a district that's all super rich people, and if it's only 30,000 people, then they will have their representation.
They'll have their congressman.
Yeah. And if
But that's, again, if you go to 6,500 congressmen, you're going to have
a
one.
vast majority that aren't representing the elites,
Correct.
which is what we need.
Well, right. We would have at least have some representation for the working class, which we do not now.
Yeah.
But you also cannot chase the rich out of your country. Look what's happening to California. We talked about that.
Okay.
You have to have balance. That's the key to success, is balance.
Okay.
But right now it's out of balance because the elites and the special interests control the Senate and the Congress.
And the White House.
Well, they did. They do now, but they didn't. That's what Trump was about. Trump was about the working class turning on the elites and trying to get somebody in there who would represent
The
them.
ultimate elite. Trying to represent the working class
Yes.
people. That's the dumbest thing on the planet.
Well, that it wasn't smart. It wasn't a smart move, but it was the only move they had. Who were their choices? Another Bush? I mean, think about the people that Trump ran against.
Who did he run against?
Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio,
Marco Rubio.
Jeb Bush.
Yeah, fuck the Bushes, man.
Right. The Republican Party did not give the American people a
What
dynamic.
about the pizza dude who died? He ran against Trump too. Herman Cain. Wasn't he like the head of Papa John's or something?
Oh, maybe.
But even he was an elite because he was like the head of Papa John's.
Exactly.
And the brain surgeon who's actually one of the dumbest people, or appears to be one of the dumbest people on the planet.
Well, savant
Yeah. An idiot savant.
or whatever. A savant in a particular area.
That's an idiot savant. That's the name. That's the full thing. You can call him an idiot savant. He has no social skills.
Most autistic people don't.
Yeah, I'm not trying to rip on autistic people. I'm just trying to rip on whatever that guy's name is. I don't even remember. I don't even know his name. And they put him as the head of HUD.
Yeah.
And did he do anything?
Apparently, his wife bought a nice conference table.
Oh my God. Do you even remember? You don't even know his name?
Dr. What's his name? It's escaping me.
Yeah, right. Well, I can't remember. I remember Herman Cain's name. I can't remember the other guy's name. I could see his face.
For sure.
I could see his face.
And his soft voice and his little hand gestures.
Yes. What is his name, dude?
I don't know.
Ben Carson.
Yes.
Dr. Ben Carson.
Dr. Ben Carson. Yes. Yep. Apparently a great brain surgeon.
Chris Christie ran against Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. He had his issues.
Yeah.
I mean, he for political revenge, shut down one of the bridges into New York. Or
Yeah,
something.
he is very corrupt too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, they're all screwed.
Tim Allen.
I don't remember who that is.
I'm just saying potential people who could take up the mantle and run next time.
Oh, that's probably going to be Ivanka.
No. The Trumps are done now.
You think they're done?
Talking about the next time.
You think the Trumps are going to disappear now?
I think that
I fucking hope so.
I think his failures are going to
Follow them
doom
forever?
his kids. Yes.
Good. They should.
So do you know who Tim Allen is?
No. Is he from Virginia?
Tool Time with Tim Allen.
The dude,
The
that's
comedian.
an actor. Yeah.
Yeah. That's who I'm talking about.
He's not a Republican.
Yes, he is.
Santa?
Yes.
Santa's not a Republican.
He's a conservative. I don't know if he's a Republican.
He's got to be a social liberal.
Okay. So is Trump.
No, Trump is a racist. You can't be a racist and a social liberal at the same time. You can't do everything in your power to try to destroy minorities and be a social liberal.
not
You
trying
can't
to-
kick
he's
black
not-
people out of your buildings for 20 years and do everything that you can to oppress an entire race and be a social liberal. Trump is not a social liberal at all, not even close.
I think he is.
Well, you're
And I think
you're
your
gravely mistaken.
claims of racism are overblown.
Do you not know all the shit that he did in New York?
Yeah, he tried to maintain the levels of rent in his buildings.
No, he tried to kick out all the black people.
He allowed the current tenants who were racist to keep black people from moving in.
That's still racist.
Okay, well, it sounds like he's flexible.
And when he was saying, look at my black over there. Do you remember that at a rally? He said that. That's racist.
Sounds more like rude to me.
Oh my God.
When I
Can
think
we
of
not-
racism,
I don't want to get into this.
racism is when you hate some people for their skin color. That's
No,
racism.
that's a part of racism. That is a part of it. That is not all of it. It's not just about It's not just about hating another race. It's about putting them down. It's about doing everything in your power to make sure that they don't succeed. It's not just disliking them or hating them.
Well,
That's
I
a
doubt
small part of it.
seriously that Trump did everything in his power to keep black people from succeeding. Since during his presidency, black people had the lowest unemployment in the history of the United States.
Because they had to get multiple jobs.
No, that's
Yes.
not what that means.
Yes, it is.
It means there were fewer black people unemployed. That's what lowest unemployment rate means. Not that there were more black people with more jobs. It just means there were fewer unemployed black people. That's
Okay.
what lowest unemployment means.
Okay.
The whole narrative that Trump was anti-black, anti-Mexican,
And Hispanic. What about the border wall? What about all the shit? What about the kids in cages? What about all that crap? What about saying that they're not sending good?
part
They're
of-
not sending
all
good. They're
part
not
of-
sending good people. They're sending the rapists. That's fucking racist, dude. That is fucking racist.
Well, since he was talking about the MS-13, MS-13, they aren't good people.
But that's not the majority of people who try to get across the
No,
border.
that's true. It's not.
And his rhetoric was incredibly racist.
He was talking about MS-13.
He was talking about all of them. He said they're not sending their best. They're sending their
The
rapists.
MS-13.
But they're not. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. And talking about the caravans coming up, that was all just bullshit. The Muslim man, he is a racist, dude. And you got to stop advocating for him. You have to.
He used xenophobic language to
Rile up his racist base.
rile up his base.
There you go. So he has a racist base. At least you admit that. And if he has a racist,
some of his base is racist. Yes.
vast majority of his
I wouldn't
base.
say that. I wouldn't say that. I would say there's some. And particularly during the primaries, when it's the primary season and you're talking about the fringe of your party.
Oh my God. 2020 is over. We need to stop saying Trump. He needs to diss a fucking peer.
So Tim Allen could pick up the mantle. Let's see, who else could be a...
You really want to do someone who is who has name recognition and is not, that is incredibly social liberal, but is sort of fiscally conservative. Is the best option, I think, would be The Rock. Honestly.
Unfortunately, they made a movie called Idiocracy. So anytime a wrestler runs for president,
The Rock isn't a
it's
wrestler.
just
The Rock
going
isn't
to
a wrestler.
happen.
He's an actor.
But
He's an action
his
star.
political opponents will bring up the movie Idiocracy.
No, they won't, because
Yeah, they
the
will.
majority of them haven't seen that movie.
Oh.
That's a cult classic.
Enough people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And that's set in the year 3000, not 2000.
doesn't matter. A professional wrestler can't run for president because they
Jesse
made,
Ventura
because
almost
they
did,
made that
and
movie.
he became the governor of Minnesota. Like,
I think that was before Idiocracy, though. I think that was before the movie came out.
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, The Rock might be a great candidate. Unfortunately, they just made that movie, and so now anytime a wrestler runs for president, they're gonna bring up that movie.
I think you're hyping up that movie way more than you should. It's a fantastic movie, don't get me wrong. But I think you are hyping up the scope of people who have seen it. And they might bring it up, but I don't think that would be a nail in the coffin.
like watering plants with Gatorade because they need electrolytes.
Yeah. Because that's what plants need. It's electrolytes to grow. That is a really good movie.
Okay, well, anyway, so moving beyond The Rock, let's see.
I think that.
Too bad Ricky Gervais isn't a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, but he's also a liberal. You're talking about a conservative candidate. Ricky Gervais is very liberal.
He's anti-woke culture.
Yeah, but he's still very liberal.
Doesn't matter. The people don't care about it's what you don't understand. The people that elected Trump don't care about the old labels. They care about being American. They care about the working class of the United States. They care about getting rid of this elite New York and West Coast woke culture. It's the reaction to the woke culture and the
The woke
anti-racism.
culture is the culture. That is where we are heading. You need to stop
No.
looking at the past.
That's not correct.
Yes, it is.
That's not correct.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
it's
is.
not where we're heading.
Yes, it
It's
is.
what we're fighting against.
No, it's what you boomers are fighting against.
And not
the
just the
millennials
boomers,
and the
not
Gen
just
Z,
the boomers,
millennials
No,
and the Zoomers,
Maybe the millennials, but the
And
Gen,
the Zoomers.
not the Gen Zs.
and the Zoomers. Yes.
no,
Yes.
The Gen Zs see how silly you millennials are.
No, they
Yes, they
don't.
do.
They're the ones that are.
No, they figured you
Zoomers
out.
are way more woke than
No,
millennials.
no.
Yeah, dude, you really don't know anything about Zoomers. You really don't know anything about Zoomers.
Okay.
You really,
Well, I know.
really don't.
I know they're not going. I know they're going to the University of Chicago because it's a place where all of that bull crap grievance studies shit is getting shut down.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, well you know who Helen Pluckrose and James Lindsay and Peter Boghossian are?
No.
Okay. Find out.
Okay. But you need to understand that the culture is moving. Racism will not have a place.
It's not about racism.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Racism and sexism will no longer be a thing. Well, that's not true. It will always be a part of, because humans are humans, and a vast majority of humans aren't
So
awakened.
are you going to judge a man by the content of his character or the color of his skin?
The content of his character.
Okay. Then the issues, that's it. There is no as long as. There is no but. You either judge a man by the content of his character and not the color of his skin, or you include the color of his skin in your judgment of a man. If you are judging a man based on the color of his skin, you are the racist.
Not if the skin is white.
You are the racist.
Not if the skin is white.
Race. If race is part of the calculation, you're the racist.
Okay.
And that's what woke culture
You can
needs
say
to
that I'm
learn.
racist against white people all you want. All you want.
Any people. It's not acceptable to be racist against any race.
It is against white people.
And that's the issue.
Fine. White people will not be in the majority in 50 years.
Okay? And then will it not be okay to be racist against them when they're the minority?
Maybe.
See, there's no logical consistency. That's the problem with this approach.
Problem is
you
that for
have
the past
no
two,
logical
the
consistency.
problem is that for the past 2,000 years, white people have been on top.
Wrong. That is absolutely wrong.
Okay.
You don't even know your history.
Okay. So England and Spain and
You know the Moors?
did not England and Spain and Ireland and France did not
Not
conquer
for
the
2,000
globe.
years.
They didn't conquer the globe and set up settlements and cause America.
England. That was hundreds of years, not thousands of years.
Okay. Well then for
Genghis Khan and the Mongol horde, they took over Europe. And then you had the Moors, the North Africans. They took over Southern Europe.
okay.
Yes, white people have not been running the world for thousands of years. And if whoever taught you that, or whoever's been saying that on Twitter, is fucking insane.
Okay, for
And they're
hundreds
causing problems.
hundreds of years then.
I'm saying the pendulum swings.
Okay.
Guns, Germs, and Steel. Read the book.
I don't like guns.
It explains how different societies come to dominate the world based on technology, based on diseases, immunity to diseases, and technological advancements and industrialization.
Like us purposely getting all the Native Americans sick by giving them measles blankets.
Right.
That was white people doing that.
Maybe.
Not maybe. That was.
Might have been black soldiers too. There were black soldiers in the Union Army that fought in the Indian Wars.
Okay. Well, a vast
I'm just
majority
saying
of
it
them.
was the Spaniards in South America that did it to the indigenous peoples there.
The Spaniards were white. Spaniards from Spain are white. Those are white people. Spaniards from Spain are white people.
Okay. Yeah. So your definition of white people is anybody who's done something bad throughout history.
No, it's anyone from Europe.
Are the Turks white? The Ottoman Empire?
No, those are Middle Eastern.
Okay.
Turkey is in the Middle East,
Right.
not Europe.
Okay. So Spaniards are white.
Germanic, German, French, England,
What about Russia?
even Russia. Yeah, Russia. But a large majority of Russia does contain a lot of Asian people in it. But I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, it was just whoever got here first, whoever it had been, would the same thing.
Native
would have
Americans
happened.
were here first. That's the problem.
No, what I'm saying is whoever came with that set of diseases and germs that came over
Yeah,
from
but they
Europe.
purposely gave them those diseases. We purposely gave them those blankets that were covered in measles and whatever
Yes.
to wipe them out.
Yes.
That's the issue.
Yeah. And I don't think they purposely gave them the blankets in South America when the Spaniards came, but the same thing happened. When a population of people, that's what Guns, Germs, and Steel, the book talks about, when a population of people gets exposed to a disease that they don't have immunities to, it wipes them out.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably accelerated it by giving them the measles blankets, but it would have happened anyway.
Okay. It's still purposefully evil.
Yes, it was. It was bad. And it probably, I know a lot of the Native American populations were very aggressive. Like the Cherokees had already wiped out a lot of other Native American tribes.
That's fine. This was their land. They could have done whatever they wanted. They could have slaughtered each other. The problem is that we came in and we completely wiped them all out.
Okay.
I really wish Columbus had never discovered America. And he didn't even discover it.
He didn't.
The Vikings actually did. But I wish that they hadn't crossed over that line until like the modern age.
But it wouldn't have been any different. What kept the Native Americans from developing to the degree that they could have defended themselves against the Europeans?
What kept them?
Yeah.
They didn't have gunpowder. They didn't have guns
Why not?
because they didn't develop that technology. 'Cause
That's my question. Why not?
they were more in tune with the universe. They understood how evil guns were.
I doubt that's true because as soon as they got access to them, they adopted them and started using them.
Yeah.
So you have a romantic idea about the Native Americans.
Yeah. I do.
But it may just
'Cause I think that
I'm saying
they're-
it's false. It's a false romanticism.
Why? They were much more in tune with nature and spirituality than the Europeans were. Much more in tune. And when they killed an animal, they used every part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they thanked the animal for giving its sacrifice so that they could eat and have shelter and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They understood the way the universe worked on a much deeper level than we understand today.
Okay.
And that's probably why the aliens came down and talked to them.
Maybe. Yeah, could be. Yeah, it's possible. So are you familiar with the precession of the Earth? The great year?
No.
You know the Earth wobbles on its axis.
Yeah.
Okay. And it changes 1 degree every 72 years.
Okay.
So every 25,000 years, it makes a full rotation. And there's different, as the Earth points towards different constellations,
Yeah.
they call those different days in the great year, and they're like 5,000 years long. And then they have ages, which are kind of, you divide the whole constellation up into quarters. They call them ages.
Okay.
And so we're entering the age of Aquarius.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
And according to the writings, the ancient writings like the Indian yugas and things like that, the cycles go through bronze, silver, and gold. And the golden era is supposed to be the era of enlightenment, and we're supposed to be entering into that now. So this idea you often cite about human nature changing and us becoming more altruistic, it could be true that
I
as
hope
we
it is.
move into the golden era of the great cycle, that people will be more kind and caring and spiritual and less selfish and greedy and destructive.
Well, that's anti-capitalism, though.
I don't know necessarily that it has anything to do with capitalism.
You said it's anti-greed. Capitalism is greed.
Not necessarily.
It's about making as much money as you possibly can.
Capitalism is about using the market mechanism to identify the things that people want and making those things that people want and
Okay.
making more of the things that people are willing to spend more money on.
Okay. We need to get rid of money, too. So everyone needs to get onto crypto.
Well, but any medium of exchange, it doesn't matter. I mean, the difference between a dollar and crypto is that a dollar is backed by the full faith of the U.S. government. Crypto is only backed by the faith of the people who are using it.
And mining it.
Well, mining it makes it even more volatile.
No, it doesn't. It does the opposite effect.
How so?
Because in order for something to be mined, the way that the computers interact is they have to trust the computer before it.
That's just accounting. What I'm saying is when you mine Bitcoin, you are adding to the count of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Now that's capped, I guess, they're at 18.5 million coins now. I guess they're going up to 21 million before it gets capped or something. You know about that?
Yeah, I don't know what the cap is, but
anyway, so, every new coin that gets added to the pool decreases the value of the ones that are already there. That's how inflation works. It's not a big deal right now because the volatility in Bitcoin is all about speculation of investors and not about how many
that's the
coins
same
there
with
are.
gold. That's the same with the dollar. It's all speculation, man.
It's not.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it absolutely is. We place the value of the dollar. We place the value in gold. We place the value in everything. We place the value. And it's the exact same with crypto. We're the ones who are deciding how much it should be worth. It's the exact same.
It's in a roundabout way, it's the same, but it's not exactly the same because the dollar is backed by the full faith of the U.S. government, and it's also backed by Saudi Arabia, which demands people pay for their oil in U.S. dollars.
And that's not always going to be a thing.
That's true.
But there will always be computers talking to one another. And there will always be people trying to create money and new alternative ways of exchange. So that's why crypto is the future and the dollar is the past. And that's why it's going to explode. And we're on the precipice of it. And everyone out there should invest in crypto right this fucking minute if you want to have any sort of financial freedom in the future.
Okay. Two of those things don't add up. So if there's new cryptos coming along all of the time, and there's essentially no barrier to entry, that undermines the value of cryptocurrency.
Not the original, not of Bitcoin though, and not of the more established ones. And the longer that and each crypto coin is used for a specific purpose. That's another thing, and is used for a different market segment.
Explain.
So, like, there was that weed coin that was. I need to check and see if that's worth anything because I put like $100 in that a long ass time ago, and I didn't need to find my wallet. My crypto weed wallet. But that's an example of a coin that was supposed to only be used within dispensaries and between people. Bitcoin is kind of the global exchange one. But there are certain crypto coins that are put in place that are put in place to create. There's a coin that is put in place to create. What is it called when you put your money in a bank and your money earns money? Interest. There's a coin that is just there to create interest in all of your other Bitcoins. There's crypto coins that are segmented for individual products or companies. Like DoorDash has its own crypto coin, and that just launched a couple of weeks ago, and now it's over $100. Like the thing is, it's not going. The crypto market is not the only way that the crypto market would crash or disappear or go away is if literally energy disappeared. As if there was a bomb that went off that wiped out the energy grid throughout the entire world. And if that happened, we're already screwed.
Yeah.
It is the future. It is the future.
Well, there's certainly some interesting things going on with it. I hadn't heard about the DoorDash coin. That's interesting. So is DoorDash...
Companies are creating coins instead of stocks. I mean, they're still having stocks, but the reason why DoorDash coin started is because DoorDash went public. It's a publicly traded company now.
Okay, that shouldn't have anything to do with them having their own coin.
Well, their coin started when their stock started.
That's probably coincidental.
Okay. Well, they're the ones that created it, so they saw the writing on the wall.
That's interesting. So if a company...
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Stocks and crypto are essentially the same thing.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. It's about having faith in a company or faith in a coin. It's all based on faith.
It is based on faith, but the coin is a medium of exchange. The stock is a share in a company.
So is a crypto coin. It's a share in that company. In that, when you buy a coin, you are participating in that within that marketplace of that coin.
Right.
Just like when you buy a stock.
So when you buy a DoorDash coin, isn't that so that you can pay for DoorDash? Isn't it more like just a coupon or a gift card?
No. You buy a DoorDash coin, you hold on to it, and the longer that you hold on to it, or the more people that buy it, the more value that coin is, and the more money you have in that company. And the company DoorDash itself, the top people at DoorDash probably have a shitload of those coins, so they want more people to buy those coins, so that the company itself will have more money flowing through it. The exact same way that stocks work.
Well, that's not how stocks work.
That is how stocks work.
When you
buy a stock in Disney, Disney has more money.
It depends on who you buy the stock from. If you buy it directly from Disney, then Disney has more money. But if you buy it from somebody who previously bought a stock in Disney, then Disney doesn't get any of that money.
No, but the more stocks that are bought in Disney, the more money Disney gets. Because the shareholders of Disney all get more money.
You don't understand how it works. When a company has a stock issue, let's say they issue 100 million shares of stock, and an investment bank sells some portion of that 100 million shares.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that establishes the market value. So let's say if Disney has 100 million shares of stock, and they sell 80 million of the 100 million in their IPO, and they keep 20 million shares, then that 80 million shares goes out onto the market, and Disney gets whatever they sell those shares for.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's $1 a piece, then Disney gets
$80 million.
$80 million.
Yeah.
Now, if those 80 million shares, after they sold initially for $1 a piece, if they start trading with other people who bought it for $1, sell it for $5,
Yeah.
Disney doesn't get any of that money.
No, but all of their 20 million shares that they have
Could be worth
would be increased.
$5,
Would be
right,
increased. Yeah.
if they then went out onto the
Yeah.
market and sold them for $5.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how stocks work. The coins,
Work the same way.
but are they? But the purpose of the coin isn't the purpose of the coins to pay for DoorDash.
No. You can't pay. I mean, I don't even know if you can pay for DoorDash with DoorDash coins. You might be able to. I mean, you probably can, and if you can't, you can probably convert the DoorDash coin
Well,
into a Bitcoin and then buy
if
with
the
Bitcoin.
DoorDash
That's why
coin-
Bitcoin itself is the standard bearer, and why Bitcoin itself will never go won't dip.
The only way that they could get away with issuing DoorDash coins instead of DoorDash stock is if ostensibly the purpose of the coin is to pay for DoorDash, is a medium of exchange.
There's no regulation of
That's the issue.
that's the good thing.
It is a good thing, but if it's just if all they're doing is trying to raise capital as they would with a stock,
Yeah.
and they're using this crypto coin as a substitute for a stock, then the SEC is going to crack down on them. They're not going to allow
But they
them
can't
to do that.
because crypto is not centralized.
It has nothing to do with centralized. It doesn't have anything to do with centralized. It has to do with who sold the coins.
Yeah, but you don't know who sold the coins.
You know who sold them initially,
Yeah. Or who created them or who mined them.
right? And those people will go to jail if they're trying to do something that's a way to try and get around SEC regulations on stock trades. If it's just a substitute, if it's an alternative to stock, if it doesn't serve an alternative purpose than raising money for a company, which is what stocks are for, then the Security and Exchange Commission, the SEC, is going to crack down on that. They have to say the purpose of the DoorDash coin is to pay for DoorDash to keep the SEC from cracking down.
Okay, so they might say that, but then the raising of the money is just an added bonus.
Yeah. It's like buying a gift card. Yeah, you can go out and buy a $20.
No, it's not. No, it's not, because a gift card will never be more than whatever you bought it for. A $20 gift card will never be more than $20. It would be like if you go and buy a gift card, a $20 Amazon gift card, you held on to it, you talked to your friends about it, you told your friends you should go buy Amazon gift cards, and then your individual Amazon gift card jumped from $20 to $40.
Right.
It's not the same as a gift card.
But when I'm
It's like a gift card mixed with stocks then.
okay. In order to keep the SEC from cracking down, DoorDash or any company that's issuing their own cryptocurrency basically has to say,
They all say when in their cryptocurrency what the individual coin is used for or supposed to be used for. But that's not that's just their front facing. The back facing is that all the people who
all of the teenage cryptocurrency speculators who think they're going to
not
be millionaires.
teenagers, dude. The Winklevosses invested like $500 million into cryptocurrency like 10 years ago. You need to look at all the people who are buying crypto right now, because it's not teenagers. It's not teenagers. It's investment bankers. It's blowing. It's going to blow up, and we're on the precipice right now. Like it's already shot. It shot up in 2017, but right now there's another influx, and it's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the only way that it's gonna stop is literally if the internet explodes.
Okay. And one of the reasons why this could be happening is that crypto becomes a store of value when the U.S. government starts printing money willy-nilly with no end in sight. So,
It's an alternative.
correct.
Yeah, so that's why
That's what store
and
of
it's
value
and it's a
means.
global alternative,
Yeah.
and it's a decentralized alternative, and it's an unregulated alternative.
It's a hedge against inflation. Right? The dollar, let me explain this to you as simply as I can.
It's a hedge bet against inflation.
So let me just explain this in a simple way for you.
Uh-huh.
Think about all of the products, the value of the things made by and in the United States.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let's say there is a number of dollars that represents the value of all of that product.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you think apps are products?
Sure.
Okay, so how is that any different than a cryptocurrency?
No, just listen to me and quit.
Okay.
I'm just trying to explain something to you. You have a pool of dollars that's designed to represent the value of the products created in a country.
Uh-huh.
The US dollar is supposed to represent the value of the US economy.
Uh-huh.
Okay. If all of a sudden, over on the printing end, you create 30% more dollars, but the economy itself creates either no more value or shrinks because everybody's locked at their house. So imagine the value of everything produced by the United States shrinking 20%.
Yeah.
At the same time that the number of dollars designed to represent that value increases 30%.
Okay.
That's in essence what happened in 2020.
Okay.
So there's more dollars representing less value,
Yeah.
which means those dollars should be worth less money
Yes.
each.
Yes, I understand that.
So that's why the cryptocurrency becomes a store of value, because if you bought a Bitcoin at the beginning of 2020, before they inflated the number of dollars by 30%, while the value of the economy shrank 20%, then at the end of 2020, that whatever money you put into Bitcoin should be bigger to, should have inflated because it's a store of value. Same thing happened with gold. Gold as a store of value. So the dollars that it required to buy 1 ounce of gold was way more at the end of 2020 than it was at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's because of these relief packages, because they're just printing money.
Okay. Yeah. But you also need to understand that the crypto market is not just the United States. It's globally. And so this is going to be happening, and it's going to happen on every market in the entire world. Now, the two countries that have not jumped onto crypto yet, I think it's China and Russia. And there's a couple others that have not even allowed crypto, but there's still people mining and taking crypto.
Well, governments that want to hold on to power are not going to give up their control over their own currencies.
Yeah, but there's no way for them to regulate crypto
Correct.
because it's completely decentralized. And there's no that's the other thing about crypto. Even the guy who created Bitcoin doesn't control Bitcoin. There's no head boss because it's all about computers talking to one another. There's never going to be one big fat cat. There's never going to be a Fed determining. That's why it will be the currency of the future.
Yep.
So we need to invest in fucking Bitcoin.
Until some super hacker figures out how to
There's
hack blockchain.
Yeah, but you would have to hack every system in the world.
Well, I think you'd only have to hack a majority. Like if there's some conflict in the ledger and the majority of the computers
but
say,
the thing is that's what the connections do. That's what the connections do to prevent that. That the actual connections and the actual do you know what mining of Bitcoin is? It's two computers making sure that Bitcoin is one Bitcoin and that it hasn't been used more than once.
Mm-hmm.
So in essence, mining prevents that. That's why it's unhackable, and that's why it's not going anywhere. Because in its core code and what it does and how it works.
I don't know, super hacker might create a virus as long as it was timed correctly where it appeared at the same time everywhere.
That's impossible.
I don't know.
And the computational power to do that, you would need like a field of servers.
Yeah. People have fields of servers.
not super hackers.
And the
And
economic.
the people who have fields of servers are going to be mining. They're not going to be.
not if they can make 20 times more money counterfeiting than they can mining.
You can't counterfeit Bitcoin
You could if you could control all of the ledgers and you had some
in the entire world at the exact same time
Exactly.
in an instant. That is
Yes.
so impossible.
Okay, maybe.
I'm telling you, man. Really, really look into crypto.
Okay. Well, if all of our
And I'm pretty sure that back in like 2009, I'm pretty sure I remember. And that's the other thing that really pisses me off is that I know that I bought $30 worth of Bitcoin in 2009, and I don't know where it's at. And I remember writing down, because back then they didn't have wallets and it wasn't an app and everyone didn't have like iPhones. So I copied, you had to copy your wallet code and your wallet password, and your password and your code weren't like ones that you could alter or change. And I copied down that wallet and code and I put it in a note on one of my old ass computers. And I bought $30 of the Bitcoin when it was like 13 cents. So I'm a millionaire. And I've been looking up how to find it. And that was before, like now, in order to get like on Coinbase, you have to take a picture ID. You have to enter your in order to register all that. But back then there was no requirement. There was no door frame even to get that. I'm a millionaire right now. Seriously. And I don't know what happened to that computer or that note. It might be that computer in there. I'm going to check in that one, my old laptop, but
okay.
and I remember, and this is bad, but I remember why I bought Bitcoin back in 2009 is because initially, when Bitcoin first started, a lot of people were using it for the Silk Road and the dark web and to buy drugs over the internet because it was untraceable. I remember my friend saying that. He was like, just buy like $30. And I was like, okay, whatever. Back in 2009.
Okay.
And I took when I was working at Rentley in 2017, I put a bunch of money in Bitcoin. And then I took it all out when it was at 17,000. And now it's 27,000. So I could have also had a lot more money if I just left it in there. But I don't remember why I cashed it out. But I did for some stupid fucking reason. Because I was like, oh, this thing isn't going anywhere. When it hit its peak. Because then it dropped down to like 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. And then it's going back up. It has a ebb and flow. Bitcoin does. Every year it's a cyclical ebb and flow. Towards the end of the year it usually increases and then it dips a little bit and it goes back up. But it's if you look at the graph, it's a constant trend upwards.
As long as the U.S. government keeps printing money for no reason.
The U.S. government is trying to get their own coin.
Yeah, I don't think the people that are investing in currency, in crypto, want to have anything to do with the U.S. government. So that doesn't make any sense.
They don't.
All right. So let's kick off 2021 with your first song that we'll be featuring this year.
Outgrowing You?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Outgrowing You? It is about outgrowing past relationships, outgrowing your past self, and just becoming a better and more aware person.
All right. Sounds great.
Enjoy Outgrowing You.
See you next week.
Adios.
Now